Shamdi, G. Ayanu, Goedemorgen, Ishbata. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Well This Morning. Once again, like every other morning, I am Shiza Hashmi, ready to share my information, my knowledge, and my, well, brightness with you. I hope you all are going to have an amazing day today. This is what we aspire every day. So to begin that, I have something positive to share with you. So yesterday, of course, everyone around the globe was observing and rather celebrating International Women's Day as well. I happen to come from a family where we're a lot of women. I mean, I have a lot of sisters, mashallah, and my mom is a very strong character as well. But the good thing is, my only brother and, of course, my dad, they are huge supporters of women as well. Luckily, and I'm saying luckily because unfortunately, a lot of women out there in Pakistan still don't have this support. So while yesterday, all of us sisters and my mom, we were happy or rather celebrating Women's Day, you know, going out to get our avail our packages whatsoever, I felt like yesterday was also a day to sort of acknowledge and then thank and be grateful for men like my brother and like my dad. Because I feel like in a world of coexistence, it wasn't only women who could actually make a mark, right? The support of men had to be there all the time, and luckily privileged I am enough to have that support. So if you have those men in your life, make sure to celebrate them as well. Make sure to be thankful to them as well, because I tell you, it's rare too. But it shouldn't be rare, right? I mean, we're talking about a very peaceful coexistence, which should not be rare at all. Now, I'm going to put a pin to it for now because this is what I want to talk about throughout the entire show. But before that, let me share some very good news with you yesterday. The ICC Cricket World Cup for Women was happening, of course, and now I'm going to share some details of that with you. So the Australia earned a straightforward 7-wicket win over Pakistan in the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup 22 at Tiranga despite a 99-run stand between Bisma Maroof and Alia Riaz. Bisma, top scorer with 78 not out for her first 50 since returning from maternity leave, but it was not enough as the disciplined bowling display and an Elisa Healy half-century earned Australia their second consecutive win. Pakistan are without a win after 2 games as slow scoring again hampered their chances of an upset, setting Australia just 191 to win. But it's totally all right, you know.
That's a lovely shot for 4. That's found the gap and will race away. Oh, that's hammered through mid-wicket.
Well, still good visuals to look at, to be honest, because I am still mesmerized by the picture I came across of Bisma Maroof taking her newborn baby to actually the stadium and to her entire trip as well, being strong, empowered woman that she is and setting an example, inspiration for a lot of women out there. Well, best of luck to the team, to be honest. They're doing a great job for Pakistan. And still speaking of cricket, cricket has come to Pakistan and now in Rawalpindi Stadium as well after what, about 24 years where the Australian team came down. So let's take Pakistan after what, 24 years now, and which makes it 1998 since it was last. So fingers crossed of whatever's going to happen. But you know what, whoever wins in the end of all these matches, cricket is winning and international harmony and peace is winning, and that is what we are all about. Other than that, moving on, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we're really excited because in less than a month, we are going to be experiencing Ramadan again. And I feel like the spirits are really, truly lifted over here, and especially being the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, I feel like the energy we put into sort of, you know, preparing for this month and then the relief packages that the government offers to all the normal, or I want to say the people in need for this month is exceptional as well. Along those lines, the Economic Coordination Committee of the Cabinet has approved Ramadan relief package worth 8,280 million rupees to facilitate the masses during the holy month. The approval was given at the meeting of the committee in Islamabad with Finance Minister Shaukat Tareen in chair. Under the package, 19 essential items will be provided on subsidized rate to the people through Utility Stores Corporation across the country. The committee also approved Prime Minister's relief package of 5 rupees per unit reduction in electricity charges base rate for a period of 4 months from March to June. The meeting approved Kamyab Overseas Program as a new component of Kamyab Pakistan Program. The initiative is meant for prospective low-income overseas workers having confirmed foreign job offer, employment agreement and valid travel documents and registered with National Socioeconomic Registry to avail interest-free loans under Kamyab Pakistan Program. How amazing is that? Of course, I mean, I feel like we are in an era where we're actually witnessing with our eyes the construction or a development of a welfare state. So, well, kudos to that, of course, the incumbent government. And fingers crossed for all the goodness to happen to everyone who deserves it, to be honest. Now coming back to where I left you on that pin, keep putting out the pin as well. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about women empowerment, of course, it is women themselves who will empower themselves. But to have a conducive environment to grow and without any restrictions and without any hindrances, I think it is very important. It is a very huge factor in empowerment as well. And let's not deny the fact we are continuously surrounded by men, of course, within our families, within our friend circles, especially if you're a working woman, you're continuously surrounded by men at work. And then if you go out in public spaces as well, so there's no reality to where you only exist as a female or a world of only females, right? It's men and women together. So today we are going to be discovering, or rather discussing, that aspect of women empowerment where not only women but men and women come together. And it was so interesting because when I got the write down for the show, it said, men supporting women, is it a myth or a reality? I mean, it doesn't have to sound like that, but this is what we are going to discover today. Is it a myth or reality? So without any further ado, let me be introducing my very perfect panel of guests over here. First of all, I happen to have the program analyst for UNFPA with me, Mr. Muqaddar Shah. Assalamu alaikum, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you. Next to Mr. Muqaddar, ladies and gentlemen, I have the communication officer for UNICEF, and she happens to be Fatma Shahryar. Assalamu alaikum, Fatma. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shiza.
And last but not the least, of course, the communication assistant for UN Women, Mr. Hassan Ali Abbasi. Assalamu alaikum, Hassan.
Thank you very much, Shiza. Wa alaikum salam.
All right, so I think the first and the foremost question should be, when we talk about women empowerment or gender equality, it must have a different meaning for all of you. So beginning with you, Mr. Muqaddar, what does it mean to you?
Thank you very much, Shiza. First of all, a very happy, Women International Day, and I must acknowledge the vital role of women, starting from families, societies, building nations, building economies. So, which sector you name it, all over, on all areas, women, they play a critical role in developing, all these sectors. Secondly, I'll start it from the creation of the God. God has created population balance.
Right.
You can, 50% are men and 50% are women. Let's say, the Pakistan populations, which is 230 million right now in 2022, 112 millions out of this are women, which means 49% are women, which means, so starting from this, from the creation of the God, it means women has equal rights, in terms of the opportunities, access to resources, whether it's economic or social resources, whatever. And if you look at across the world, all those countries, who are developed, the women have played a very important role in terms of taking up their economies as well as the development. So I consider it's not only the right, but it is very important in terms of uplifting your families, your societies, and particularly how to develop your country. So that's my take on it.
And very interesting, very right as well, ladies and gentlemen. If you think about the 49% that you did mention, women in Pakistan, a very small segment of that actually contributes to the economy. And if most of them or all of them were to contribute, the GDP would go up threefolds. How amazing is that? But moving on to you, Fatma, the same question stands. What does women empowerment mean to you?
Thank you, Shiza. And again, in Happy International Women's Day
to you
and everyone here. So for, as Muqaddar said, that, Women's Day is an important event, and even the gender equality, as UNICEF is mandated to protect the rights of all children,
yes.
Girls and boys, and we work to enhance the opportunities for them to be able to contribute when they grow up as contributing citizens of the country. And this day brings us the fact that more than nearly half of population should be able to contribute, and with as the world is changing, we need to press on the need of empowering girls, empowering women, creating spaces for them to learn and be safe and exercise their rights. And this really expands to all the girls, especially as we move on from the divide of urban and rural, right? The marginalization, it affects a girl in a rural area even more than it would possibly in an urban area. So those indicators then vary, and then it affects the girls and women as they grow up and as they start to contribute to the society at large. So this only means to us that we close the disparity, we close the gender gap, and we bring the opportunities to girls, and we ensure that their needs are met at every level.
Well, that's brilliant, of course, and I want to dig deeper into all the, or rather some of the projects that you particularly are taking for a girl child. But ladies and gentlemen, there is a notion going on internet that you don't need to appreciate men for doing the bare minimum, that is supporting women. Yes, that's true. But I feel like in a patriarchal society, in a male-dominant society, if someone is actually taking a stand for women, he is the odd one out, and that must be appreciated, because to actually first of all put away your privilege, all right, this is a male-dominated society, but I'm not going to be one of those males, and then do something for the underprivileged, or rather the vulnerable or the minority segment of the society. It's huge. It does need to be appreciated, and like I always say, it creates a ripple effect. So coming to you, Mr. Hassan, same question, of course, in your personal realm of life, of course, and then your professional, what has gender equality meant to you?
I think it is a very important topic of today's discussion, that men supporting women.
Yeah.
It is not only a reality, in fact, it is the need of the hour.
Of course.
And before we talk about the role of men and their responsibility, it is very important for the audience and the general public to understand what gender equality really means. Because we have seen very recently and very often that this very simple term is blown out of proportion, and people don't understand what gender equality is.
Yeah.
So, in simply put, gender equality means equal access to rights and opportunities for all. That's it. So when you branch out this definition, then you begin to realize, and you don't have to go very far to understand where the disparities are.
Right.
So it is very important to take this definition in mind and then do a self-evaluation on where we stand, whether it's education, whether it's political empowerment, whether it's financial inclusion, whether it's economic empowerment. So according to me, equal access to rights, equal access to opportunities, this is what gender equality is.
And brilliant, that is absolutely true, and that is the aspiration as well.
True.
Equal access, right? So I think I'm going to take that point and make that into next question as well. In your individual roles, let's begin with you and FBA over here. How are you making sure to provide equal access to all genders across Pakistan? Let's be more specific.
Well, that's a very important question. In fact, the next 5-year program that we are going to sign with the government of Pakistan, UNFP is focusing more on 3 Ds:
Okay.
diversity, disparity, and dividend.
Interesting.
And importantly, we put women, center to all these 3 Ds. Until and unless we do not fill the gaps in terms of gender equality, moving forward with the development and supporting the government of Pakistan, it would be too difficult. So these 3 Ds is the center of the UNFPA programs. And we are not only supporting, with respect to promote the gender equality, but we're also physically working, hand in hand with the government of Pakistan at national provincial levels.
Okay.
To in terms of access, particularly for the access to the reproductive health, so that they have they have more choices available with them, particularly in numbers, how many numbers they need to be in the society. Yesterday, UNFPA has launched a song which is Main Insan Hoon. This is more from the perspective of the women's in terms of gender equality. So it talked about more on different role of the woman's wife, sister, and mother. So it talked all sides of the role of different of the woman. So that is very important. So that's how UNFPA is working in terms of taking gender equality, to reach all women in terms of accessing, particularly for the reproductive health.
Very nice, which also reminds me of a poster that I came across yesterday, because, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of marches and peaceful protests were happening throughout the country with regard to International Women's Day as well, and one of them made a lot of sense. I mean, of course, there are some questionable ones as well, but it said that if I were to translate loosely into English, women just want to be a human. They're not, sort of challenging men to be a man. औरत को मर्द नहीं फर्द बनना है. And how sad and basic is that if we talk about it? You are asking for your basic human right to be a human, to have all the rights that humans do, not man or women. So Fatma, I have a very different question for you, but I want to move the same question to you, Hassan. What is UN Women doing recently, especially for the women of Pakistan?
I think UN Women, as the lead agency working towards gender equality and women empowerment, works across a variety of themes. Mainly being we are working towards a future where there is no domestic violence, there is no violence. All forms of violence against women should end. And most importantly, the second one, and the most important one, is the women economic empowerment. Because when women are empowered, economies grow. When women are financially independent, we see a multiplier effect. If a man is earning, and when a woman is earning, there is difference. Because when woman is earning, we see a multiplier effect, because she is more likely to spend on her family's well-being. So in that regard, UN Women is working on across a variety of themes: ending violence against women, women economic empowerment, digital literacy, and across all ambits.
Brilliant. And now coming to you, Fatma. While of course I want you to mention UNICEF's projects and whatever is going on in terms of empowering women, you are an example, or rather an inspiration, for a lot of women out there. And I say that because it's not really easy to, first of all, be a part of the world's biggest organization, and that too at a position that is, I mean, not just out there handed to anybody, right? You worked for it. And there must be if there is, let me know, there must be a struggle or maybe some challenges that you might have faced getting to this position, if you were, of course, chasing that over here in this region. Do you want to talk about how you did that? Because it will inspire a lot of people out there.
Thank you, Shiza, and thank you for the kind words. As long as the challenge is concerned, and my message to every girl out there, every woman would be, and even any individual for that matter, is to chase your dreams, right? And never give up. There are challenges, obviously, and they're a part of life. It's never a smooth ride anyway,
Of course.
right? So that's how I made it here too, and it's a dream. It has been a passion that I followed through, and challenges come, but the good thing is that they also pass, right? And they always leave you with something to learn. They help you grow. They help you, become a better person. So in this race of life, I think everyone should hold on to your dreams.
True.
And continue working, not just for yourself, but also being a woman. I would emphasize that you support other women, you help them rise, you be the voice of those girls and women that cannot be heard.
Absolutely.
Those who do not have the access. So you be their voice. You be the hand holder for them.
And that's so beautiful, and I really hope that all women actually feel that way as well, and sort of support and empower each other too. But when we talk about gender equality, it's not just something that only should happen at office spaces, at workspaces, or at governmental level for that matter, at state level. It's something so basic. It should actually start happening from a grassroots level. And I'm saying that because when we talk about the population of Pakistan, first of all, there's a major urban and rural divide. And in that divide, extremities are there. I mean, of course, I have been a part of families that have belonged to both the segments, or I have rather witnessed families belonging to both these segments as well. So mentality is definitely different. So when we talk about gender inequality, it starts at home when you tell your daughters, in simple words, or in Urdu if I were to say, when you tell your daughters कि अच्छी वाली बोटी भाई के लिए छोड़ दो. And it's a thing, it happens. So in small households where it's actually, challenging for them to produce meat at a dining table that happens probably twice a month or even once a month, the mother does request the daughters to actually leave the better piece of meat for their brother, because he apparently has the first right to anything good that is being served. While it is sad, of course, it is a very common practice among other practices that are so small in our daily lives that we don't tend to notice them. But these then eventually breed into larger, more accepted social practices, which is what we're here to, sort of stop, or if not break whatsoever. So if I were to ask all of you at maybe at your homes or maybe at your workplaces, that is for you to choose. Can you recall some practices that really bothered you? Okay, this is where inequality is, stemming from, or this is where actually my opportunities are being taken away from. Whoever wants to begin. Hassan, do you want to start?
Yes, I can
All
start
right.
with an example. And before making the example, I want to, touch upon a very, very important point, that is the mindset.
Yeah.
How a mindset prevails is you have to see the background of it.
Okay.
We imitate, number one, the closest, that is our family. We imitate the group, our colleagues, the workplace, and the habits that are stemming out of there. And number three, we imitate the powerful, the influences.
True.
But if you look more closely, you will realize that the first one, that is imitating the closest, imitating the family, it affects the other two.
Right.
Because all the mindset, the negative mindset, the practices, they all start at home. They all start from the family. For example, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
You are driving with your family. For example, I am driving with my family, and I see a lady who is driving a bike. There can be two responses. Number one, a brave lady. She's driving.
Yeah.
Empowered woman. And number two, she's going to hit someone. Why is she driving?
And that is so common.
So in doing that, you are unconsciously promoting gender inequality. You are promoting stereotypes in front of their children, and they are most likely to carry that practice forward. So it is very important to address this, number one. Number two, this is the reason that this mindset prevails. When we talk about gender inequality, there is also a mindset that prevails that states that an individual cannot make a difference.
Okay.
To all the men and boys there, and even all to women. This is the very reason we see that the practices like child marriage, the practices like dowry, the practices like unequal education prevails, because we believe we cannot break the cycle, but we can.
True.
Everyone can, and like you said, gender equality, this is the reason gender equality starts at home. So I'll leave it to that.
And very interesting anecdotes, to be honest. And how often have we all heard someone saying, okay, oh my God, we almost met an accident, there was a female driver. I mean, it's literally a joke. Every movie even now picks up. I don't know, it's not even funny anymore. But do you guys want to add something to it? Some practices or probably some actions that you might have noticed?
Well,
that
it's
promote- yes.
practically, a few days before, I was driving with one of my colleague, one of best friend, in fact, all of a sudden a car come, in front of me, all of a sudden brake. My friend, in fact, instantly said, it must be a woman.
Yeah.
So those kind of, examples that exist, it's normally because of we didn't give the place to women, in fact, in different segments of the life.
Yeah.
Starting from, let's say, how many women are there in jobs? How many women are, have been given the opportunity to play their vital role in different segments, for example, in education. Women normally pick, the field of teaching. Why? It's mainly because of they do not feel comfortable with any other field. The environment, that is a very important fact. You have to create enabling environment so that they feel comfortable while working and contributing towards the development of the nation. So those things are far, and particularly in the rural area. Yes, of course, in the developed areas, let's say in the urban areas, the practices are being changed, particularly with the change of time, with the change of getting more educations, the practices are being changed. But still, even having the education at the rural areas, the practices are still there, and they consider women's. You gave the example, earlier. If there's, गोश्त पड़ा है आपकी उस पे तो आप you have to say बोटी रहने दो अपने भाई के लिए. So that's the best example, and this example still exists in the community. And that's how we should work to address those kind of issue. And we have to realize that woman is the center of the development. Until and unless we do not give a proper place to women, a proper respect to women, I think we cannot move forward in terms of development.
Absolutely, and 100% agreed with you. Moving on to the women of the panel, Fatma, what do you have to say about this?
Thank you, Shiza. So I would, taking it from my colleagues, how I look at the gender disparity is, and in everyday life, something that bothers me and something that also sort of excites me, because this is something that I can contribute actively through my job, is when there are about 21 million out of school children in Pakistan, right? And out of those, 55 million remain, it's 55 million are girls.
Okay.
Right, which is more than half of it. I mean, so 55% are girls. So my personal experience is also that when we talk about opportunities, something as simple as education or schools or location of schools, right? It should be in a way that it is accessible to girls. It is, safe for them to go to the school, learn, and also come back.
Right.
Child protection, education, that remains at the base of everything. Similarly, when we talk about,
All right, Fatma, we definitely want to continue with that. I want you to hold on to that thought, because right now we're heading to a very short break. When we come back, of course, Fatma will share her experiences, what she has felt or seen, along with some very, even more interesting points, rather, that we will be discussing about how men and women need to coexist to empower each other. So stay tuned to find out. Good morning. Welcome back to Well This Morning. I am Shiza Hashmi, and you are just coming back from a very small break. And I make sure to do that because I want you all to go grab your chai, coffee, breakfast, whatsoever, and I hope you did that. If you were not watching, let me do a small recap. Today we are talking about, of course, women empowerment, but in a very conducive environment where men and women are supporting each other to grow together. While we continue that, I actually got an update on the COVID-19 situation over here in Pakistan. It's actually good news because the positivity ratio is not that high as compared to the previous months where we were actually shocked by the new wave as well. It's 2.07 right now. In the past 24 hours, There have been, unfortunately, 6 deaths and altogether 758 positive new cases. And the total tests that took place in the past 24 hours are 36,569. And this is the exact information that NCOC has put out on their Twitter as well. You can always check their social media websites for the latest updates too. But the very interesting research actually that I read just this morning that Reuters actually shared in a news report of theirs was that after more than 2 years of research, now they say that COVID-19, whoever contracted the virus, was it severe or was it not, that doesn't matter, that actually the virus is now causing brain shrinkage in a way that there can be memory loss, there can be sensory loss, there can be permanent taste or smell loss. So last year, I do remember there was a condition called parosmia where a lot of, even if some friends of mine after, contracting COVID-19, they had lost their taste and smell at all and they just could not eat anything at all. That was, well, parosmia, but now there's a larger context to it as well. That is one condition, but anyone who had gone through COVID-19 in itself might be facing these issues of memory loss or brain shrinkage for that matter. I mean, it is really sort of shocking to see because a lot of people had contracted this virus and the death toll for COVID-19 altogether had crossed 6 million globally. And the people, of course, who have survived is way larger than that as well. So do check up on all the people from your family or friends who did contract the virus because apparently you're doing well. But if you talk about lethargy, I get to hear a lot of people say, COVID के बाद से मैं बहुत थक गई हूँ, or I'm feeling so exhausted, I'm feeling so lethargic. It's a real thing. It's your brain doing these things to you. So I hope and pray every one of you is safe out there and healthy too. And make sure to pray for me and my team as well. And now coming back to where Fatma over here from, of course, UNICEF was letting us know her experiences. Yes, Fatma, please continue.
So thank you, Shiza. So my point is that when we talk about the opportunities, when we talk about education or when we talk about disparity, it is very important that the opportunities and the access for girls is also enhanced and it is enabled. They should, girls and boys, they should have access to schools. The girls should be able to access their learning in safety. You were talking about COVID and
Yes.
the past 2 years have really put the pressure on girls in terms of the pressure of household chores and attending to the needs of the family. So when we talk about family, of course every person has a role to play.
Yeah.
Right. So for that we need to continue discussing and continue organizing similar spaces such as the one today, that we identify the concerns, we listen to the concerns of girls and women and we address them. So we know that where the disparity is, where the opportunities could be enhanced, where the system could be further strengthened, right? And the lack of access to the basic needs and the basic rights could also be enhanced and met.
Absolutely, and very rightly said as well. But I'm remembering, Hassan, you mentioned something about influence, because if you take it up personally to become an advocate of, empowering women, and it has nothing to do with you being challenged, right? They're not here to take your place, they're just here to create their own. So in terms of influencing, what do you guys think should be the way forward? I mean, is it just the state or the government's job to probably make ad campaigns, jahan pe, mard and auratein together? How do you think the influence can matter? Also considering the social media and also considering the impactful people on there whose voice matters. Mr. Shah, I'm going to begin with you.
Shiza, it's very important. In fact, this is the question is itself. It is important in terms of because the influence it plays its own role, particularly the social media. It's the role of social medias. Whatever you share the contents on the media, it play its role and it keep its place. In fact, in terms of building your your thinking, that. And also, but it's not only limited to the government. In fact, it's limited to all of us. We have to play our vital role in terms of the removing the barriers against the gender equality, particularly that hits women, in terms of moving them forward. But beside all this, whatever we play our role. the data plays its own role. In fact, until and unless we do not have the data, it would be too difficult even for the government to come up with their program, to fulfill all this their requirement and the needs of the women. But definitely the influence, whether it's in community, whether in offices, whether it's in society, it has to be very important that we think about, particularly when work, in society. When you talk about women and girls, it has to be very positively, so that we play a positive role in terms of building, our behavior for female in terms of positivity.
Yes, absolutely, and I do agree with you. And I think the change or the influence rather starts at a very personal level as well. Where next time, if I have spoken continuously about the ripple effect of it as well, when next time one of your friends or one of your family members or colleagues, whoever, makes a sexist jokes, which is derogatory, which is stereotypical and not even funny, just call them out. You don't have to fight with them, just tell them, you know what, it's not funny, to be honest. But moving on, the same question to you, Fatma. How do you think influence can matter and how can it be created?
Shiza, we come from a society which, in which men and boys have privilege.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, and I think that it is important that even in UNICEF we work with a focus on men's engagement. Because even in our own structure and culture, all family members play a very important role. And for this change, I think men and boys can use their privilege, their spaces to address the concerns for women. What they can use and do is that they learn about those concerns,
right?
Discuss those and create spaces for girls and women where they can access and exercise their rights safely. They can rehearse those positive masculinity behaviors, and then once they rehearse them, they can always internalize them and continue to live those behaviors. That would not only lead to a prosperous society, but also would encourage adolescents, girls and boys to work for a better tomorrow.
Absolutely, and I do agree with you. And while I think this is also wishful thinking, but I really hope it happens as well. I'm there with you, to be honest. Hassan, my question is the same for you, but it's going to change a little in a way that Fatma talked about spaces in creating environments. And you, working with UN Women, must have the right kind of stats on this and the knowledge on this as well. Recently, we had amendments in our workplace harassment bill or law as well. And it was the first time workplace was defined to begin with. Of course, later on, different things come in. I even learned, for all the things that we were missing out, I was shocked. How come these were not discussed before? So can you sort of paint us a picture of what are some of the most common issues that women of Pakistan might be facing at workplace?
I think, Shiza, it's a very important question. And before we deep dive into it, at this point, we must have a clarity that gender equality is everyone's issue.
Yeah.
It's not only for women.
True.
And it is everyone's responsibility, and men, like Fatma mentioned, have a very, very important role to play in it.
Okay.
And as far as workplace harassment and other laws are considered, UN Women has been extensively working with all the government partners to ensure that there are laws in place and there are laws enacted for workplace harassment, whether it's justice, workplace harassment, or any other domain. But there is another important point that I want to touch upon, picking on what Fatma said. It's about the engagement of men.
Yeah.
It is very easy to criticize others, and it is very difficult to, do a self-check.
True.
And in this regard, like you also mentioned at the start of the show, that we, unfortunately, it is a fact that we live in a male-dominated society. But this is not the problem. The problem is that we, unfortunately, the men, take this as a right, not as a privilege. It is a privilege. So it is with that awareness that you have a privilege. If that sense of privilege is missing, then you cannot take responsibility to stand up for women's rights.
Absolutely.
So for the men and the boys, for everyone out there, it is very important to take this responsibility, and you can start at home. You can start at office.
Yeah.
You can start at every level. So it is very important that you have the awareness of that, the privilege. Only then you can address the unconscious biases that exist in our society.
And you know what, Hassan, while I agree with you, it's true sort of, because men do not even support men who are supporting women, let alone supporting women directly, because I think I told this yesterday as well. My co-anchor Shahzad Khan, you all know him. He of course always advocates for women empowerment. He is a father of 3 daughters, mashallah, and everything. So the other day I put up a story of him speaking about how to empower women. I got hate messages from men saying that how come he's saying, they were hating on Shahzad for no reason, just because he was saying the right thing. Similarly, you gentlemen might have faced something similar in your life where you're talking something positive for women, and guys make fun of you, call you names, label you, title you, just because you're speaking for women. If you want to talk about it, for sure do. If you don't, that's totally all right. But since we're left with hardly 5 minutes or so, I want you all to give out a message to everyone out there, not just women, everyone out there, how a change can be made, and anything particularly that you find is the solution. This is a camera. Mr. Shah, we're going to begin with you, please.
I think we all men, in fact, we should play our role in terms of uplifting women in terms of development. We started from home and from workplace, and we should respect, all the women, because they are our sisters, they are our mothers. And until and unless you do not give educations to your daughter, it would be too difficult, in fact, to uplift your society. So one educated woman can make the whole family educated, and of course, the entire society, and at the end, of course, the whole nation.
Absolutely, and very rightly said. Thank you so much, Mr. Shah. Moving on to you, Fatma.
Thank you, Shiza. So my message would be to create spaces and create opportunities for girls to help them reach their full potential, to help those girls, create the change and be the change. It is important that, there are about the girls, Sindh government had passed a bill for banning the child marriage. It would be my message to, take this movement across the country and ban child marriage, help girls prosper, help them reach their full potential and contribute to the society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fatma. What about you, Hassan? Do you have something to say?
Thank you very much, Shiza. My message to all the men and boys, especially to men and boys and women in general, would be that gender equality starts at home. And if you think you cannot make a difference, start small. You can start small by ensuring that the girls in your family achieve equal education. So it is very important to start gender equality at home and be the agents of change. We have a very important campaign that is called the He for She. This is the label pen for it. So He for She encourages men to come and support for the woman. So I would request and urge all the men to become a gender champions and support the He for She movement. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all of you for being here, Ms. Fatma and gentlemen as well. And thanks to UNICEF, UNFPA and UN Women for actually making sure that you guys come here and speak your hearts out. It was definitely a very fruitful show to learn for me as well. Every other day is a learning experience, and we should definitely hop onto it too. Towards the end, I think I'm gonna sort of collectively say whatever they said. Change begins at home. Change begin close to you. If you do something about something wrong that is happening around you, that is how other people will replicate, and that is how eventually, a little time down the lane, inshallah, we'll see a huge change as well. So we're really hoping that we did leave something good with you, and it will stay to actually reflect it in your actions as well. Towards the end, a very important news for all the Pakistanis out there. Today happens to be the death anniversary of a very important Pakistani hero, rather. He happens to be the folk singer Pathan Khan Sahab. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, when we talk about his work, it is legendary. He is famous for his Kafi singing in mystical circles in Pakistan and India. Pathan Khan also sung ghazals of legendary Urdu poets. His specialty was folk singing in Saraiki and Sindhi languages. Late Khan sung poetry of Baba Bulle Shah, Khwaja Ghulam Farid Mitten Koti, Meher Ali Shah, and many other Sufi poets during his long career of singing. He was born in 1926 in the village Basti Tambuwali, situated in the heart of Thal Desert. several miles from Kotaddu and also died in the same native town on the 9th of March in 2000. The government awarded him with the Pride of Performance in 1979. May his soul rest in peace, and of course his legacy, his work will stay with Pakistan till the end of time. With this, we are heading out, but tomorrow, inshallah, at the same time, that is 10 a.m., we're going to see you. And if you miss the show, it's all right. You can actually catch the repeat at 10 p.m. tonight. And make sure to write to us with your opinion, feedback, questions, everything on our social media pages. You can see the link down here. It is World This Morning. Till the next time, take care. Good morning.